In December 1872, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean between the Azores and the coast of Portugal, a British brigantine named the Dei Gratia spotted something that made her captain order an immediate change of course. The ship in the distance was the Mary Celeste, an American merchant brigantine that had departed New York Harbor 5 weeks earlier, bound for Genoa, Italy, with a cargo of 1,700 barrels of commercial alcohol. On board were 10 people: the ship's captain, Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and 7 experienced crew members, all of whom had simply vanished. Captain Benjamin Briggs was one of the most respected merchant captains in the American fleet. Experienced, deeply religious, and known for his meticulous attention to the safety of his crew. Briggs had specifically chosen the Mary Celeste for this voyage because he considered her a good, sound ship, and he had brought his wife and daughter along, as he sometimes did on longer voyages, considering the ship safe enough for his family. The Mary Celeste had departed New York on November the 7th, 1872. The Dei Gratia found her drifting on December 4th, meaning the ship had been sailing without her crew for at least 10 days, possibly longer. Captain Morehouse of the Dei Gratia sent a boarding party across, and what they found aboard the Mary Celeste became one of the most debated discoveries in maritime history. The ship was in good condition, her sails partially set, her cargo of 1,700 barrels intact in the hold, her navigational instruments in place, everything suggesting the crew had intended to return. Below decks, the boarding party made discoveries that deepened the mystery. With every cabin they entered, the crew's personal belongings, money, and valuables were all still aboard, untouched. In the captain's cabin, the boarding party found the ship's log. The last entry, dated November 24th, 1872, noting the ship's position near the Azores, and then nothing. 9 days of blank pages before discovery. The galley stove was still warm. Food was in the process of being cooked, suggesting the crew had left the ship, suddenly, in the middle of preparing a meal. The ship's single lifeboat was missing, the only things definitively gone from the Mary Celeste, suggesting the crew had deliberately chosen to abandon ship, but the reason why remains unknown. A length of rope was found trailing from the stern of the Mary Celeste, a long rope dragging in the water behind the ship, suggesting the lifeboat may have been towed behind the ship before whatever final event caused it to be cut or lost. The boarding party also noted that the ship's compass had been damaged, the ship's papers were missing, except for the log, and the peak halyard, the rope used to raise the mainsail, appeared to have been rigged to tow something heavy. The British Admiralty Court of Inquiry in Gibraltar convened to investigate the mystery and immediately focused on the most suspicious element. The Dei Gratia's crew stood to receive salvage money for bringing the Mary Celeste in. The court's lead investigator, a man named Solly Flood, became convinced that a crime had been committed and that the Dei Gratia crew were the perpetrators, having somehow murdered the Mary Celeste crew for the salvage money. Flood's murder theory collapsed when experts examined the supposed evidence of violence aboard the Mary Celeste. A brown stain he claimed was blood turned out to be rust, and marks he claimed were sword cuts were found to be ordinary tool damage. With murder ruled out, the court awarded the Dei Gratia crew a salvage payment, though a suspiciously low one, suggesting the court never fully cleared them. And the Mary Celeste was returned to service, as if nothing had happened. The Mary Celeste continued to sail for 12 more years after the mystery, passing through 17 different owners, each sail at a lower price than the last, as if the ship herself was cursed. In January 1885, her final owner deliberately wrecked the Mary Celeste on a reef off Haiti in an insurance fraud scheme, ending the life of the most mysterious ship in history on a Caribbean reef. Arthur Conan Doyle, who would later create Sherlock Holmes, wrote a fictional short story about the Mary Celeste in 1884, changing her name to the Marie Celeste and inventing dramatic details that the public accepted as fact for decades. Over the 150 years since the discovery, Researchers have proposed over a dozen serious theories to explain what happened to the Mary Celeste crew, each one plausible, none of them proven. Theory 1, the most widely accepted, involves the cargo of alcohol. 9 of the 1,700 barrels were found empty when the ship was boarded, suggesting alcohol vapor may have accumulated in the hold and created an explosion or the fear of one. Under this theory, the crew, fearing the ship was about to explode, abandoned her in the lifeboat with a tow rope attached, intending to wait until the danger passed and then reboard. But the rope broke and they were swept away. A small, overloaded lifeboat in the winter Atlantic, far from any shipping lane, the 10 people aboard would have had almost no chance of survival, their bodies lost in the vast ocean without a trace. This theory was tested in 2006, when a team of scientists recreated the cargo hold conditions of the Mary Celeste, and discovered that an alcohol vapor explosion could indeed occur without fire, without damage, and without leaving any trace. Theory 2 involves a water spout, a rotating column of water that could have created a sudden and violent disturbance around the ship, convincing the captain to abandon ship before it passed. Theory 3, less accepted but never disproven, involves a seaquake, an underwater earthquake that could have created violent vibrations through the hull, convincing those aboard that the ship was breaking apart beneath them. What all the surviving theories share is this central fact. Captain Briggs was an experienced, calm, and rational man who would not have abandoned a sound ship without a compelling reason, and whatever that reason was, it has never been established. The families of the Mary Celeste crew, the wives, children, and parents of the 7 sailors, were never told what happened to their loved ones, because nobody knew. The body of Captain Briggs was never found, nor was the body of his wife Sarah, nor their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, the youngest victim of the most famous maritime mystery in history. The Mary Celeste has been the subject of more books, films, documentaries, and academic papers than almost any other maritime event in history. And the mystery has not been solved by any of them. In 2001, an expedition located what they believed was the wreck of the Mary Celeste on the Haitian Reef, and found her keel and hull timbers still visible on the ocean floor after 117 years. The wreck offered no new clues about the mystery. The deliberate wrecking had destroyed any evidence that might have remained aboard, and the decades underwater had done the rest. The spot in the Atlantic where the Mary Celeste was found, the area between the Azores and the Portuguese coast, is also within the broader region, known historically for unusual maritime disappearances. The Atlantic Ocean in that region is over 3,000 meters deep, deep enough to swallow a small wooden lifeboat and 10 human bodies without leaving the slightest trace on the surface. What we know for certain, 10 people left New York on a sound ship in November 1872. The ship was found sailing alone in December 1872, and the 10 people were never seen again. Everything else is theory. The Mary Celeste has become the most enduring ghost ship story in history. Not because of what was found aboard her, but because of what wasn't. An explanation. Every ship that sails the Atlantic today passes over the same waters where the Mary Celeste was found, and carries the same implicit reminder that the ocean keeps its secrets better than any locked vault. The galley stove is cold now, the food long gone, the ship herself dissolved into a Caribbean reef. But the question of what happened in those 10 days between November 24th and December 4th, 1872, has never grown cold. In December 1872, the Dei Gratia found a ship sailing perfectly well, with food still warm in the galley, personal belongings untouched in every cabin, and not a single living soul aboard. And that is exactly where the mystery stands today. She was found sailing alone in the Atlantic in 1872. The food was still warm, and the crew of 10 had simply vanished into the ocean, into history, and into a mystery that 150 years of investigation has never solved.